Ashwing's first breath was smoke. His egg cracked open in the cavern of his kin, where firelight shimmered on scales black as coal. His siblings hatched larger, brighter, their wings sharp as blades. His sire looked upon them with pride until his gaze landed on Ashwing. The hatchling's wings were stunted, his scales dull. His first exhale only ash around him. His brothers and sisters roared flame, sparks bursting in the cavern air. He coughed weakly, ash settling on the stone. His dam shifted uneasily. "Another weak one," she murmured, though pity softened her eyes. His sire's face was iron. "He will not survive long. Let the strong claim the flame." The cavern erupted with the shrieks of his siblings. Eager in their first flights, Ashwing stumbled, his claws scraping the rock as he tried to follow. He spread his small wings. They carried him only a few paces. Before he collapsed, laughter, sharp as flint, echoed around him. "You see?" his sire said coldly. "Wings that small cannot bear the weight of sky." Ashwing lowered his head, smoke stinging his throat. Still, something inside him stirred, fragile but unyielding. He would not let them see it, not yet. He curled beneath the cavern wall, the warmth of the fire dim against his scales. His siblings chased sparks, already mastering the flame that danced so easily on their tongues. Ashwing licked the air, searching for even a flicker. Only ash.com when night fell. The brood settled near their parents. The cavern pulsed with heat. Shadows dancing like living things. Ashwing lingered apart, tucked in the cool cracks of the stone. His sire did not glance his way. His dam's gaze lingered once, then turned to the others. The little dragon pressed close to the rock, hiding his face, his wings stretched awkwardly, still clumsy, but when the air brushed against him, he felt a flicker, a pull, faint but certain, a promise that somewhere beyond this cavern, beyond scornful eyes, there might be a place where ash meant more than weakness. But he was only a hatchling, for now. The cavern walls closed around him, echoing with his siblings' triumphs and his parents' silence. Alone, he tucked his head beneath his wing, a tiny ember of longing burning quietly in his chest. Ashwing's first night was not of celebration, but of loneliness and the faint, stubborn hope that someday, somehow, he would prove them wrong.
The days after hatching bled together in dim, flickering firelight. Ashwing lingered at the edge of the cavern, where shadows clung like cobwebs and the warmth of the hearth fire faded into chill stone. His siblings thrived in the center, their scales gleaming with sharp colors that caught the light. Each spread their wings with effortless strength, and when they breathed, the air shimmered with smoke or flame. Ashwing tried to mimic them, his wings stretched wide, trembling with the effort, but the air never bent to his will. His breath, when summoned, was not the brilliant plume of fire his sire demanded, but a cough of gray ash that drifted down in silence. His siblings laughed, their voices sharp as talons. Ashwing, one sneered, "Perhaps you should sleep in the soot pile, since that's all you can make." Another joined in, puffing out a perfect stream of fire, the glow reflecting in their proud eyes. Ashwing lowered his head, hiding the sting behind a weak smile. He told himself their cruelty was nothing more than play. But in his chest, shame coiled tighter with every jeer. The sire's gaze was worse than their mockery. When his eyes swept over Ashwing, it was not with anger, nor with patience, but with cold dismissal. To him, the hatchling was a flaw, a break in the proud line of fire breathers that stretched back countless generations. Only his dam watched him differently. Her eyes, softer and shadowed, lingered when he faltered. She never spoke in his defense, her silence a shield against the sire's wrath. But in quiet moments, when no one else looked, her tail curled protectively near him. It was not approval, not pride, but it was something, a spark of recognition that he was not entirely alone. Still, the cavern pressed down on him. The air was heavy with smoke and scorn, and Ashwing longed for more than stone walls, echoing with laughter that was never meant for him. When the others slept, curled in a golden cluster of wings and warmth, he slipped to the cavern's edge and gazed into the tunnels beyond. There, the dark whispered possibilities. He imagined places where dragons were not measured only by fire, where ash was not shame but strength, He dreamed of skies that might carry him, though his wings shook with weakness now. And in those dreams, the ember within him small, stubborn, and yielding burned brighter. Ashwing knew he was not ready. He was still too small, too frail, too easily broken by the weight of his siblings' scorn. But he also knew this: one day, the cavern would not be the end of his story. One day, he would step into the dark beyond the firelight and find the place where he belonged.
The turning point came in silence. One night, as his siblings slept in a tangle of wings and smoke, Ashwing crept to the cavern's mouth. The firelight behind him cast long, jagged shadows on the stone. Ahead stretched only darkness. The uncharted tunnels, where no hatchling dared wander. His heart pounded, but the ache inside him burned hotter than fear. Each cruel laugh, each disappointed glance from his sire, each whispered longing for freedom, they gathered in his chest like sparks ready to ignite. Without a word, Ashwing stepped into the dark. The air grew colder as he walked. His claws scraped the stone, echoing down the tunnel like distant thunder. He pressed on, guided by instinct more than courage, until the cavern's warmth was only a memory. The ground dipped. The walls widened, and before long, the tunnel opened to a vast hollow chamber. There, faint shafts of moonlight cut through cracks in the ceiling. Dust and ash swirled in the beams, drifting like stars caught in a slow dance. For the first time, Ashwing saw the world beyond his kin's firelight. It was bleak, empty, yet breathtaking. But solitude carried a sharper edge than mockery. In the quiet chamber, Ashwing's doubts roared. What if his siblings were right? What if he was nothing but a frail shadow, destined to fade into ash? He lay down on the cold stone, wings curled tight. Tears slipped silently from his eyes, disappearing into the dust. He wanted strength, wanted to matter, but his body trembled with weakness. And his breath was nothing more than smoke. It was then he heard it, a sound, faint but steady, like the whisper of wings. Ashwing lifted his head, heart racing. From the shadows, a shape emerged, a dragon. Smaller than his sire yet taller than any hatchling. Her scales shimmered faintly in the moonlight, streaked with silver and deep gray, like twilight clouds before a storm. Her eyes found him, soft yet piercing. "Why do you cry, little one?" she asked, her voice carrying both warmth and sorrow. Ashwing tried to speak but choked on shame. "I am weak," he whispered. "My fire is ash. My wings barely lift me. I do not belong." The dragoness tilted her head, considering him. Then she smiled, not with mockery, but with understanding. "Ash is not weakness," she said. "Ash is what remains after fire has burned. It endures." Her words settled over him like a cloak, heavy yet comforting. For the first time, Ashwing felt seen, not as a failure, but as something more. He didn't know who this dragoness was, or why she lingered in the forgotten chambers. But her presence struck a chord deep within him. That night, as the moonlight traced patterns on the stone, Ashwing made his first promise to himself: he would not fade. He would endure, like the ash she spoke of. And somewhere within that resolve, he realized something else. The ember in his chest, fragile, trembling, was not dying. It was growing.
The valley no longer smelled of wildflowers. Ashwing knew something was wrong the moment the wind shifted. The sweet perfume of blossoms had been drowned out by the acrid tang of smoke. The sky, once clear and blue, was bruised with storm clouds that carried no rain. The meadow grass bent low, trembling as if it too sensed the weight of what was coming. Silvara stood beside him on the ridge, her silver eyes sharp with unease. They found us. They appeared first as shadows, then as shapes, 3 dragons sweeping down from the mountains like vultures. At their head was Valor, bronze scales glinting with the cruel light of fire. He was enormous, his wings tearing at the air, his roar rolling like thunder across the valley. His eyes burned with a hatred Ashwing knew all too well. "You dare claim what is mine?" Valor bellowed, his voice echoing through the cliffs. "This valley belongs to me. And you, Ashborn, have no right to breathe its air? Ashwing's wings trembled, memories clawing at him. His father's voice, his siblings' laughter. Too weak, too small. You are nothing. But Silvara stepped forward, her wings flaring wide, starlight shimmering along their edges. The valley belongs to no one, she said, her voice calm but fierce. It thrives because it is free. And she turned her gaze to Ashwing. Steady and unshaken, is no Ashborn weakling. He is stronger than you will ever be. Valar's laughter was like the cracking of stone. Then let him prove it. He surged forward with terrifying speed, the ground trembling beneath his shadow. Ashwing leapt into the air, wings straining as claws as large as boulders, slammed into the ridge where he had stood. Shards of stone exploded upward, stinging his scales. The fight began. Ashwing spiraled upward, fire searing his throat. He exhaled, his flames slicing across the sky, but Valar batted it aside with one massive wing. Another dragon, slimmer and copper-scaled, lunged from below. Ashwing barely twisted in time, the enemy's teeth scraping his flank. Pain flared bright, but he lashed out with his tail, striking the copper dragon's jaw and sending him spinning. Silvara dove past him, her roar cutting the air. She struck the third foe, a dark green female, with the full weight of her body, claws raking across her shoulders. The enemy shrieked and retaliated with fire, but Silvara banked sharply, the blaze hissing harmlessly against empty sky. Keep them separated, Silvara called. Don't let them pin you. Ashwing tried, but Valar was relentless. The bronze dragon slammed into him midder, the impact knocking the breath from his chest. They tumbled together, wings beating furiously, until Valar threw him down into the valley floor. The earth cracked beneath Ashwing's body. He gasped, vision swimming. Valar landed before him with a quake that rattled the mountains. The giant's shadow engulfed him. You are nothing but a pale ember, Valar snarled, pressing one claw down against Ashwing's chest. The weight was crushing, his ribs screaming. Did you truly believe you could rise against me? Ashwing's fire flickered in his throat, but fear doused it. He coughed smoke, weak and broken. For a moment, he almost believed the words. Too weak. Too small. Nothing. But then Silvara's roar split the sky. She slammed into Valar's side, knocking him off balance. Rise, Ashwing, she cried, her voice ringing like steel. You are not who they said you were. You are more. Always more. Her words rekindled something deep in him. With a surge of desperate strength, Ashwing heaved upward, tearing himself free from Valar's grip. His wings snapped wide, carrying him aloft once more. His chest burned with fire, not of weakness but of fury. He dove, slashing across Valar's snout with his claws, drawing blood. For the first time, the bronze dragon roared in pain. The tide shifted. The battle raged on, the sky alive with fire and thunder. Ashwing fought with every ounce of strength, his flames precise, his strikes quick. Silvara danced beside him, her wings shimmering, her voice a constant guide. Together they drove the green dragon fleeing, her wing torn and her spirit broken. The copper dragon faltered, blinded by Ashwing's fire to the eyes, crashing into the trees below. Only Valar remained. He roared, a sound that shook the valley. You think love makes you strong? His flames poured forth, a river of molten fire that scorched the meadow black. Ashwing and Silvara soared apart, circling him like twin stars. But Valar was cunning. His eyes tracked Ashwing, burning with hatred, and when he struck again it was not at him, but at Silvara. No, Ashwing cried. The fire came like a tidal wave. Silvara darted in front of him without hesitation, her wings flaring wide. The blaze struck her full on. Her scream tore through Ashwing's soul. Flames licked across her wings, blistering her scales, burning her light away. She faltered in the air, spiraling downward, her body aflame. Ashwing's world shattered. He dove after her, catching her broken body before it struck the ground. She was still alive, barely. Her eyes, dim but unwavering, met his. "I believed in you," she whispered, her voice ragged. "Now, believe in yourself." And then she went still.